I'm sorry if I kind of look like a mess. I'm very tired and I've cried a lot earlier today because I just finished reading Dear Martin. Hi guys and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Emma, or Emily, who's to say, and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. Also, if you can hear the birds, I'm sorry, the birds are loud. I have loud birds. I mean, I don't have them, but they're around my house. So, the first question is, what is the best book that you have read this year so far? Radio Silence by Alice Oseman is a new favorite of mine, but so is Beautiful Boy by David Sheff. I love both of these books. They're both very different books, but they're both new favorites, and I absolutely love them. If you don't know, Radio Silence is about a girl who has always been set on going to college, and she's working her way towards that. She's a steady bunny, and she's also like a big fangirl geek sort of person, I guess. And she's obsessed with this podcast called Universe City, and she meets the creator of Universe City, and he wants her to help with like the illustrations and stuff. And so she's really excited about this, and then they form a beautiful friendship, and yeah, an amazing book. I highly recommend it. Yes. And Beautiful Boy is a true story about a father going through his son's addiction. It's sad, it's heartbreaking. There's a lot of facts in it, but it also is following someone's life, so it reads a lot like a story. There's also a lot of information about methamphetamines specifically, but also drug addiction in general and rehab and stuff like that. The next question is, what is the best sequel that you have read so far this year? I haven't read very many sequels. I mean, I kind of have, but earlier this year I read the entire Percy Jackson The Olympian series, and The Titan's Curse was one of my favorites out of those. The last 3 books in the series I gave all 5 stars, but I think this is one of my favorites. I don't know, it's really hard to choose, but just so much in this book happened that I absolutely loved, such as the Hunters and the D'Angelos, and just the journey in general. I really liked. The other one is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I finally read this year, and I loved it so much. I gave it 4 stars, but I still absolutely loved it. It just wasn't as amazing as Six of Crows in my opinion. The next one is a new release that you haven't read yet but really want to get to, and for this I'm going to go with Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. This book follows a woman who I believe is a babysitter, and I think she's black, and she's out with a child that she's like babysitting or nannying at a grocery store or something, and I believe the child she's babysitting is white, and I think from what I remember from the synopsis, someone calls the cops on her because they think that she like kidnapped the child or something like that, and it seems like an interesting book. It seems like something I would want to read. There's a lot going on there, and I just want to know. The next one is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and for this, there's a lot, but the one that I am the most excited about, I think, is Loveless by Alice Oseman. I don't really even know what this book's about. I think I read the synopsis at one point, but I don't remember. What's important is that it's by Alice Oseman. Next is your biggest disappointment of this year, and for this I'm going to go with Knots and Crosses by Mallory Blackman, I think. There's a stack of books to the side of my bookshelf here of books that I'm getting rid of. It's at the bottom, so I don't want to take it out, but I'll insert a picture of the cover. This is the only book this year that I've given 2 stars. Everything else has been 3 stars or above. I've had a really good reading year. I understood what it was trying to do. I just don't think it was executed well. I didn't love it. I also went into it thinking it was a thriller, and it wasn't. I didn't think it was, like, at all. And it was also YA, which I did not know it was. So it was just a lot of misconceptions from the beginning, but it markets itself as a thriller, and I personally just didn't find it thrilling. The next one is the biggest surprise of the year, and for this I'm going to go with The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I have heard amazingness things, about this book. When was it written? I know it came out forever ago, it feels like anyways. Originally published in 2012. So it's on, like, it's in that era of YA that isn't always great. And I know a bunch of people loved it, but I just wasn't planning on giving it 5 stars. Not like I was going into it thinking like this is going to be a 3-star book for sure, you know? I was surprised by how much I loved it. I loved all of the history that was in it, and the magical elements that felt very real and attainable, even though they're magical. I don't know how to explain it. I just really enjoyed this book, and it was very surprising to me that I did love it so much. The next one is your new favorite author. For this, I have 2. At first, I was going to say Neil Gaiman, because I've read a few of his books this year, and I've absolutely loved them. But last year, I read Norse mythology and both of the graphic novels for the Graveyard Book. I absolutely loved them. It was only recently that I actually was like, hey, he wrote a bunch of other books. So he's definitely one of my new favorite authors for this year, because I've also read a lot more of his books, but I already knew about him and liked him last year, so... the other one is Alice Oseman. Earlier this year I read Radio Silence, and I also read Heartstopper volumes 1 through 3, and I absolutely loved all of them. I know she has We Were Born for This and Solitaire, and Loveless is coming out later this year, but I haven't read any of those. I would really like to. I know Solitaire isn't as well loved of a book, so I may not actually end up reading that one. I don't know, but I do want to read We Were Born for This. The next one is your newest fictional crush, and this one was a little bit hard because it's like, I'm like, do I have a crush on them, or do I just think they're a really cool person? It's difficult for me to figure that one out. I think I'm going to go with Gansey from the Raven Boys, and maybe Jem Carstairs from Clockwork Angel. I identified with Gansey a lot, just with, like, I don't have as severe insomnia as he does, you know. I don't even know if I, like, actually have insomnia. I haven't had it diagnosed or whatever, but I understand the sleepless nights and waking up and, like, wanting to work on projects, and then also just his love for history and love for, like, the supernatural-ish stuff, and his fascination with Glendower the Welsh king and all of that stuff. I think that's so interesting, and I freaking love him, and I love hearing him talk about it and, like, dive into the whole explanation, and then having Adam's commentary of, like, he freaking loves talking about this, and I'm like, I freaking love hearing about it. And then with Jem Carstairs, he's just a sweetheart. I love him. He's great. He's adorable. But, like, I don't know. Fictional crush, I don't know. The next one is newest favorite fictional character, and this one's also difficult because I love so many characters. They're all great. But Aled Last from Radio Silence, he also is in Heartstopper, but we don't get to see him so much in there. But I mean, I still love him there too. But Aled Last is amazing. I freaking love him. He's great. And Connell Waldron from... Did I not pull the book out? Where'd it go? It's over here. Sorry. Connell Waldron from Normal People by Sally Rooney is a great character. I love him. He's amazing. He's funny. Hearing him, reading him talk about literature and books and stuff he's read and just his ideas is so great, and I freaking love it. I love people. I love hearing people talk and just go into deep explanations about things. It's great, and I freaking love it. And I know he doesn't necessarily, like, talk out loud to people about these things a lot, but you get to see his inner monologue about these things, which is basically the same if you're reading it. But yeah, I like hearing him talk, listening. I don't know how to phrase these things. Cool dude. The next one is a book that made you cry. Now, I'm a crier. I cry. It does not, it's not like difficult to make me cry, but I know that something is good and that it's hit me well or right when it's made me cry. So it's not like it's like a super difficult thing to make me cry, but it's still sort of how I tell that it was good. I don't know what I'm saying. I mean, I won't cry at just anything, but I actually just finished a book earlier today, Dear Martin by Nick Stone. Made me cry. Oh my god. It really did make me cry. And like, I think half of the books on this list made me cry. But they're good books. Let me see. What else on this list made me cry? I don't remember crying with normal people, but I might have. Definitely cried during this at a certain point. Definitely cried during this. 100% cried. Are you kidding me? Blubbered like a frickin' baby. Also cried. I do not believe I cried during this one. That's 1 point for Emma. Is it a good thing to not cry? I don't know. Crying for the win, okay? I have emotions most of the time. The next one is a book that made you happy. Oh, it's over there. Wait. I have 2. Okay. Heartstopper Volume 1 is all the way over there, but I do have 2 and 3 over here, which also made me very happy, and they also made me cry. Actually, I know Volume 1 did a little bit. I don't entirely remember, like, all of what happened specifically in each one, but I'm pretty sure at least one of these made me cry. So, that's fun. The next one is the most beautiful book that you've bought. And I have 2 for this because I can't make up my mind. I have The Guinevere Deception by Kiersten White. I love the shininess, for one thing. And the foil and just the artistry. It's good. I love it. It's great. And even the cover underneath, look at that. That's pretty cool. And then Felix Ever After by Kacey Callender. Just look at this. Look at this. And I love the artwork. I think it's great. What's weird is I feel like I don't normally like covers where there's people on them, but both of these have people on the cover. So I don't really understand that, but I don't know. This one also made me cry. The Guinevere Deception, I do not believe it did. The next question is, what books do you have to read by the end of this year? And I'm not going to be including any of the books that are in my July TBR because I would like to read those by the end of the year, and I'm going to. Freaking going to, okay? That was aggressive. The first book is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I have been wanting to read this since before I bought it. This is a sort of dark academia-based novel. It surrounds theater students who are doing, a Shakespeare play, I believe. Not sure which one. Pretty sure it's Shakespeare, though. But I think it also follows a murder. I really want to read this, and I've, like, read the first, 10 pages. But I really liked what I read. I just wasn't entirely in the mood for it at the time. But it's gonna happen this year. Next is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I've actually gotten pretty far in this book. Pretty far, I don't know. I've gotten to page 132, and I've picked up and put this book down multiple times, and each time I enjoy what I read. I just am not in that specific mood to read it. So I'm hoping I will be in that mood sometime soon. Next is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I wanted to read this month, actually, but I didn't, so cool. But yeah, I'll get to it at some point. It's still here, and it will hopefully be read by the end of the year. Other books, Neil Gaiman's entire backlist, basically. I have American Gods and Ocean at the End of the Lane, and then Sandman, I've read volume 1, but all of the rest of them are on Kindle Unlimited, so that's pretty cool. So I can read all of those as well. I really like his writing, and I want to read more of it, so hopefully I can read his entire backlist. Don't know if I'll get to it all this year, but I would really like to. The next one is Favorite Community Members. This one's difficult because I have so many. And it goes from friends I've made on here to people that I've been watching since I started watching YouTube. I'm mostly going to include friends that I have on here though, and some people that I've started recently watching because I am, and that's what I'm doing, so cool. First is Erin from Rinny Reads, Kuhu from Kuhu Reads, Coley from Coley Reads, Mina from Mina Reads, Joel from Fictional Fates, Connor, and I think it's just Connor Stompanato, Charlotte from Charlotte's Reads, Hunter from The Book Hunter, what is her channel name? Nitty from Nitty Ready Reads. I hope I said your name right, but I think that's a good amount of them. It's difficult to like narrow this down. I enjoy watching a lot of you guys, so if I didn't list you, I'm very sorry, but also you're up here somewhere. I just have a shit memory, so that was the mid-year book freakout tag. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like and let me know how you guys are doing, if you are favorites of any of these, or if you have read the books that I have not yet read, and if you're like, hey, read that now, I'll be like, okay. God, I'm sorry, I'm really tired. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I will see you at some point soon, so have an amazing time. Bye.